Welcome back to the Triple Take Talk Show, episode 15, starring my co-stars Jake Williams and Mr. G, and the star of the show, Marty Peterson. As always, we are going to start with football. And we say football because the NFL season is now over, so we just kind of discuss about everything that's going on in the offseason. And the first thing that comes up in the offseason is obviously free agency before the draft. And before free agency hits and all the free agents hit the market, there is a system put in place that they delayed until next Monday, which is being franchise tagged. Every year, about 3 to 5 stars will get franchise tagged. And we are going to ask, who is the player, or who are the players most likely to get franchise tagged this year? And obviously, most people, one of you two is probably going to say Dak Prescott, as always. But the person I see getting franchise tagged almost immediately is AJ Green for the Cincinnati Bengals. He said when he got drafted that he would never leave a team that drafted him. They have star running back Joe Mixon. They draft Joe Burrow. I feel like they'll franchise tag him for now, see how he fits with Joe Burrow. They won't give him a contract because he's too old and too injured. So he'll be franchise tagged. And they're going to see how he mixes with Joe Burrow.
First of all, I don't know if Joe Mixon's a star yet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be Dak. I mean, the Cowboys did offer him reportedly the largest contract in NFL history, and he denied it because he thinks he needs $40 million. So.
Again, I do a lot of my research by listening to the radio, and they were talking about that exact situation this morning. The Cowboys may not want to sign into a contract where it's 3-4 years, because that becomes dead money in year 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. So they'll probably franchise him 2 years in a row and then just let him walk. Because he's a 4th-round quarterback, right? And that'll be 6 years in the NFL. How many quarterbacks? I mean, he's good, but is he great? I don't think so.
We'll see how he does against Mike McCarthy.
Behind that line and that with Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, I feel like any average QB could survive back there and do what Dak does. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to talk about is the draft, and we're going to talk about the best running back in the draft. So now the average answer is going to be Jonathan Taylor, but on this show, we don't stick with the average answer. And my answer here is going to be J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. And now you might not say he's probably not built like Jonathan Taylor, but you got to put Jonathan Taylor in a certain system to succeed. He's like a Todd Gurley type player, whereas J.K. Dobbins is more of like an Austin Eckler that can survive anywhere. And if you act like Jonathan Taylor's head and toes above him, but if you really look at the stats, they have the same amount of yards, the same amount of touchdowns, and J.K. Dobbins has more average per carry than Jonathan Taylor. So I feel like in the NFL that we live in today, I feel like J.K. Dobbins will be the best running back to come out of the draft.
I'm going to have to go with DeAndre Swift from Georgia. He's probably one of the best all-around backs. By that I mean like catching the football and running the football. He's very dynamic in the open field. I mean, he basically got Georgia the wins they had this year because he was so dynamic. But Jonathan Taylor is definitely a close second.
I'm going to go with Clyde Edwards. How do you pronounce his last name? Hilaire. I'm looking at his stats. He is short, but he has the biggest hands in the top 4 running backs. I know that big hands, that has to do with his receiving. His speed in the 40 is about the same. And I watched him in the semifinal and the finals. For a little guy, a lot of times in the NFL, like a little guy will be more productive than the bigger running backs. Like you had Sproles, wasn't a big running back. And then Fournette, what is Fournette doing right now? He's a big running back. So less
Derrick Henry.
What about Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Well, there's always an exception to what I'm talking about. I wouldn't go with a Wisconsin running back because you can never know what's going to happen.
I see what you're saying. Okay, and now we're going to dive into the other position we haven't talked about in a while. We're going to name off our top 5 wide receivers in the NFL because this season there isn't very many wide receivers in free agency. So we're going to name off the top 5 stars there in the NFL. So my top 5 is going to go like this. Number 1, DeAndre Hopkins. If you don't put him at the top of the list, you're ignorant. You need to stop talking about sports. Okay, number 2 is Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is amazing. I don't think he's number 1 though, simply because sure he has the stats, but who else receives on the Saints team?
Who else receives on the Texans team?
That guy they just picked up.
That guy
Fuller. Fuller.
they just picked up.
Yeah, Fuller.
He barely did anything this year.
Barely did anything. Did you see him in the postseason?
You do realize
You
the
do
Saints have
realize-
Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and they have another really good wide receiver.
No, they do not. Who?
Again, Junior is pretty decent.
Oh, wow, he's like 37, Jake. All right, and then number 2 is Michael Thomas, just because of his stats, and he's amazing. And then number 3, you always can count on Julio Jones, freak of nature, he's always consistent. Number 4 is going to be Devontae Adams, the sharpest route runner in the NFL, star receiver. I feel like he doesn't have the weapons like Michael Thomas either, he gets overused. And then my number 5 spot is Mike Evans. Anybody who can be that productive with a QB like James Winston is definitely a top 5 receiver.
Well, me and you have the same top 5, just different orders. I have Michael Thomas at number 1.
Oh.
The production he's had and how good he's been lately. I mean, he had a record year this year, so it's tough not to put him there.
Oh, she can throw the ball to you.
I already gave you. Anyways, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams at 3, Julio Jones at 4, and Mike Evans at 5.
Well, again, I had the same 5. We must either listen to the same talk show or read the same statistics. Again, I agree with Jake. Sometimes it's who you have a quarterback will make a receiver look better. Now, Hopkins has
Watson.
and
Thomas has
Brees.
Exactly.
And
You said Watson was like a top 3 quarterback.
Yes,
in the
but
NFL.
here's my point.
So who's 2 and who's 1?
Okay.
Who's 2 and who's 1?
What stats did Hopkins have with Matt Schaub? The same exact stats he has with Watson. Exactly. He's a star. He doesn't need Watson. Watson needs him.
wasn't there a gap between Schaub and Watkins? Who was between there? What was that guy's name?
Osweiler.
Yeah, that guy.
And he put up the same stats.
Look it up.
Okay, I will. Who's your number 1 receiver, Mr. D?
I am going to go with Michael Thomas because I just love Drew Brees, and I think he makes that offense go. And again, my contention is the Saints should have been in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row, maybe 3.
I don't think Drew Brees makes that offense go. They were pretty darn good with Teddy Bridgewater. 6-0.
Jake,
6-0.
I appreciate your comments, but I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, here's your stats for you.
Because I'm right.
2013, rookie season, 802 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was Matt Schaub's year. 2014, Matt Schaub, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. 2015 was the last year of Matt Schaub, 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. 2016 with Osweiler started, and I think Watson might have been a rookie back that year. But he was hurt that year. He only put up 954 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay, next season he bounces back with Watson starting QB. 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns. Next season, 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. This season, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Consistent. Okay, number 2?
I'm done.
You said Michael Thomas was 1. Who's the rest?
Oh, the same as yours. I'm not going to order the
Okay.
same 5 receivers that you had.
All right, so we all have the top 5, except Hopkins is 1. Everybody knows this.
I might throw Christian McCaffrey in there because he's kind of,
running back.
I know he's a running, you say he's a running back, but he's a quasi player. I like the way he plays, and those gunboats on that guy is just, they're amazing.
If you're going to say that, why not put Alvin Kamara on the mention too?
I would go with you. I would go with Kamara too.
I think you're being ignorant. You're putting
I'm not-
people in the wrong positions.
Okay.
They're not receivers.
Did I say they were?
Then how are you going to put them in the conversation?
He said, if you could put those people in there. So you have to listen first before you get all bent out of
If
shape.
that's not the question, so we're moving on to the next topic.
If it was, you could put
But
them
it's
in there.
not. All right, on to the NBA. As always, we move on to basketball right after our NFL topics. And the heated discussions, this has always been a heated discussion. Everybody likes to compare players.
Yes.
Nobody knows why, they just do it anyway. Is LeBron James the best player
Yes.
in the world?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I agree. What do you think, Mr. G?
At this time or
Yes.
all time?
Right now.
Just making sure we have the ground rules set. I don't know. It's hard. Porzingis, when he's healthy. Possibly they're saying Chris Paul is what he's doing.
Okay, now you're just trying to tick off Marty.
You don't like Chris Paul?
No. Okay, next topic. Now we move on to the best team since the All-Star break. There's been a lot of good teams that have came out of All-Star break with lots of wins, just a couple L's. And I think it's a pretty easy one. The OKC Thunder have been absolutely dominating. Well, they haven't been dominating, but if you could tell me after that Russell Westbrook trade, they would be the 5 seed in the West, absolutely nobody said that. And since All-Star break, they have 4 losses. And who's on that team?
Who have they played?
That does not. They're in the West, Jake. That does not matter.
Just because you're in the West doesn't mean you don't play weak Western teams like Golden State, like the Kings, like the Suns, and you don't.
You said the Kings are bad? They're literally on an 8-2 streak.
The Kings?
Yes.
Oh yeah, and NBA can be going 8-2 streak, or they play weak Eastern Conference.
What team has more talent, the Kings or the Thunder? Talent.
Talent?
Yeah.
Kings have who?
Marvin Bagley, De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Bogdanovich.
Who's their coach?
Luke, I did not say that.
Who's their coach?
I said talent, sir. I said talent.
They might have more talent.
Exactly.
Than coach.
Exactly, my point. Mr. G?
It's not the Thunder.
Did he answer?
No. Who is
It's
it?
the Lakers.
The Lakers have been the number 1 seed all season.
Okay.
This is from All-Star break.
From
Who's been the
All-Star
best
break. From All-Star break, they've beaten the Clippers, they've beaten Milwaukee, and they've beaten like the top teams. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Jake, you realize All-Star break was a month ago. You can't just look at this past weekend and call them the best.
They've been playing the best. Who have they lost
Over
to?
3 days?
Who have they lost to?
Jake, 3 days. I'm talking a whole month from February. Stop looking at this weekend. Who do you think, Mr. G?
Well, unlike my 2 esteemed colleagues here, I went on to the NBA Power Ranking site and looked for the last 3 weeks. And this is what they said, and I don't necessarily agree with them, but Milwaukee's basically fallen out.
Yeah.
They said, in terms of the number of places in the power rankings, the most increase is the Lakers, currently.
All right.
Clippers number 2, Toronto number 3. And again, you and I actually agree on this. I'm still a Clipper fan. I would put the Clippers up there. I'm not looking at records and I'm not looking at who they played. I'm just looking at power rankings, which when I looked at the website, there are like statistically categories going across. There's like 15 of them. So they're throwing all this statistical information in and looking at the number of places.
Right?
Who was the All-Star break?
Like February 16th, around there.
You can't interrupt me when I'm doing my spiel.
Yes.
So it's the Lakers, Clippers, Toronto. That's what I'm doing. I'm going with the statistics. It's just like I'm one of those guys that just looks at statistics. And again, I think those power rankings take into account who you play.
Since February 8th, they've only lost 1 game to Memphis.
Okay, well, then they have the most talented team in the NBA, arguably.
We said the Clippers have more talent.
I said arguably, everybody has their opinion.
But you and I agree, the Clippers are the dark horse right now, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
They're not a dark horse.
Well, dark horse, and they're not playing everybody the whole time like they should be.
Okay.
All right, and now we're going to move on to our last question of the NBA. And this is actually a really, really good question that could cause a huge debate. What's more important in the NBA at this time period? Having a deep team or having just a couple superstars to carry you? Because obviously we have like the super teams like, we'll say the Lakers, but then you also have deep teams like the Bucks. You have deep or you have superstars. And what's more important right now? And in my opinion, I think a deep team is going to be more important in the regular season so that you can rest those superstars, or if you have any, and they'll carry you through the regular season, kind of like the Bucks do. But then when playoff time comes, that's when you need the superstars. Because when playoff time comes, and you have a player like LeBron or Anthony Davis that can just take over whenever they want to.
Anthony Davis cannot take over when it counts.
Anthony Davis is statistically better than LeBron James, sir. So let me finish my speech.
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, what? We're not even in the playoffs,
he
sir.
scores 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Sir, did I say we were in the playoffs? We're in March.
2 points. Shoots like 10% less from field goal. I don't want to hear about
And he
how
has
he can take over a game.
And he has more points per game than LeBron. He has more rebounds per game than LeBron. He has more blocks per game than LeBron. He's more efficient than LeBron. Exactly, sir. Don't make me pull those out. So in the playoffs, it's going to be superstars. Right now in regular season, it's going to be a deep team. So I think you need superstars more than a deep team.
While he's looking this up, I'll take my turn.
Okay.
The Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, and the Boston, when Boston had their run there. In the playoffs, you had like Kendrick Perkins coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Lakers, especially with Showtime too, you had like, even though you had a basic 5 that was great, you had they were always getting like extra players to fill into the slots that filled in well. And I think, not to argue with you, but I think deep bench helps you, like when the Warriors up 3-1 and then Green got kicked out of the game, or kicked out for a game. Did they have enough to support that one player to come in? They had I don't know if they had Iguodala at that time or not.
Oh yeah, they did. But let me ask you this: when was the last time a deep team beat a superstar team for a championship? Maybe the Mavericks in 2011. Last year, who's that?
Well, when the Mavericks beat Miami, they weren't loaded.
That's what I'm saying. That was the last team to do that. Otherwise, it's always superstars that win.
Well, do you think, again, when Cleveland beat Golden State, was that more Golden State losing that series or
Yes.
or Cleveland winning that series?
They had superstars, that was my point. Neither team was very deep that year.
Cleveland had a bench. They had J.R. Smith coming off hitting the threes.
Oh wow, yeah, that's real deep.
Why did, well, they also had on that team, they used, what's that one guard that Cleveland always, that LeBron loved?
Matthew Dellavedova.
No, they didn't have him. That was he was on the, oh yes, he was on that team, and they brought him back. I think depth is a little bit more important. It's hard to equate this with the superstar teams because this is a new era of basketball, superstar teams. I mean, when did it first start? Who's the first superstar team? You can't see the Lakers. Lakers drafted.
The Heat.
The Heat. And then what was it? What was the next one? Cleveland?
No, Golden State.
Well, they drafted Curry, they drafted Thompson, they drafted Green.
Well, Cleveland drafted Kyrie. LeBron came, and then Kevin Love was traded for. They drafted Wiggins.
Yeah, but again, the way they looked at it, did LeBron pick and choose which team he went to?
I suppose, but he's from Cleveland.
I know.
Double.
What?
LeBron averages a double.
Yeah, I didn't say he couldn't pass the ball.
Points and assists. Anthony Davis
Who has more
almost has a double-double.
It doesn't matter what. Don't
Who has more points when it matters? The Bucks.
Jake, it is the regular season. You don't seem to realize through your ignorant mind that the playoffs are different than the regular season.
I do.
You realize that you have seen it through your very own eyes that regular season LeBron and finals LeBron are different, are they not?
Yeah.
Exactly my point. So you're pulling up stats that don't even matter, but the stats that do matter are how many you score every night. Nobody looks at the fourth quarter in the regular season.
I'm just saying that's a telltale sign that he's not a closer.
How about this?
When it matters.
How about this? I got a good suggestion. Why don't you answer the question, sir? What matters more?
Star power.
Star power, exactly. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Well, I'm gonna put an asterisk. Star power with one role player.
What's star power? 2, 3? What's star?
2.
2?
You at least need 2. Because you need 2 people that can score, but you also need a Lou Williams, like the Clippers have, or somebody like that. The Lakers don't have that, so that's why I think in the playoffs, yes, LeBron's going to be great. AD's going to be, well, we don't know AD.
Fantastic.
AD's
Top 5 player.
AD's going to be
Top 5 player.
Iffy.
Not iffy.
Iffy.
MVP candidate every single year of his career.
No.
Don't iffy me.
No,
Has he won one?
No, but he's candidate every single year.
Oh. He's not bad. I shouldn't say bad.
Top 5.
Okay, he's top 5, but he's not going to fourth quarter. So in the playoffs, the pressure gets to him.
But again,
Have you ever seen him in the playoffs?
No.
Has he ever played?
Does it get
He
that
played
first
one
round?
series with the bum Pelicans.
The bum Pelicans
Yes.
won that series.
Exactly.
So then
because of
like-
him. And you're saying he's bad in the playoffs.
I mean, if he's a top 5 player, he should get his team to the playoffs more often.
Do you see LeBron? Oh, okay, I shouldn't say LeBron.
Do you see LeBron?
Okay.
LeBron. Who
Do
did
you
he have
see-
his last year in Cleveland? Who did he have his last year in Cleveland and his last year in Cleveland before he went to the Heat? Exactly. Nobody's.
And where did he get him? The playoffs. Just
Exactly.
like Anthony
Got
Davis.
him to the championship.
Anthony Davis is 24
Got him to
years
the
old.
championship.
He's 24 years old, Jake.
Got him to the championship.
You think he's just going to be a 10-year veteran going to the finals when he's 24 out of college?
I'm just saying.
You're just saying you're wrong.
LeBron got his teams to the playoffs and a tough Eastern Conference back then.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Anthony Davis. Wow, that's crazy.
Anthony Davis got his. LeBron hasn't missed the playoffs besides last year for a while.
Yeah. Anthony Davis could do the same thing, you think not?
No, obviously he can't since he hasn't.
He's called you
Obviously.
ding dong.
Obviously he can. He's 24 years old.
Let's get on to baseball.
When LeBron was 24, he went to the finals. Okay, Anthony Davis is going to do that for the rest of his career now that he's out of a bad system.
He may not even be on the Lakers next year.
He could go to an even better system then.
Golden
Yes.
State?
Go on to your baseball questions. They will take over the baseball questions for the show, please.
Okay, the first question is the thing that's going to carry through the entire season. How did the Astros handle this adversity in terms of being booed every time they showed up and being thrown at? How are you going to handle it?
You just gotta hopefully knock out the noise and don't let it affect you. You also said earlier something about how long will it last? For how long will it last? I think it's gonna last for at least until the All-Star break or until they play every single team at least once.
Do you think they should admit to their guilt?
Yes.
Then the problems would go away, would it not?
Yeah.
So this is basically ego that's playing into this
Yep.
right now. Okay. Chris Sally, Sale, close. He was brought into the Red Sox 2 years ago with David Price to win a championship, and they did. Now he's kind of become a middle of the road pitcher. I mean, he still has an ERA that most pitchers would want in the MLB. David Price is gone to the Dodgers. So what do you think? Was that investment to Sale worthwhile? It got him a championship. Is one championship worth all this money they're paying them?
And MLB, you don't have a cap room.
You have a luxury tax. There's no luxury tax. Dodgers are over it all the time. Yankees are over it.
Yeah, but it doesn't really affect. So yeah, it's worth
There's
it.
no cap, but one championship, and you could have kept Mookie Betts. Now you've got a pitcher by the name of Chris S.
Rings are all that matter. They got him a ring.
I don't know. Well, I won't disagree with you. We'll just see what's going on. He's been in the season 10 years. He's 30 years old. And
Pitchers can usually pitch till 40 if they revamp their style.
but yeah, that's the problem. Can he do it? Can he go from the fastball pitcher that he was, and he had a curve too?
Yeah.
Can he switch to an off-speed pitcher?
Yep.
That's Kershaw's done it, and he's done it pretty successfully. Okay, last question. With the Angels and Shoshani Otani, what do you expect out of the multiple position player this year?
Out there?
Yeah.
I think he'll have a good year. I expect his numbers to pick up since it's not his first year in America. This wasn't it last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So I mean, he's getting more used to everything, and I think he'll have a breakout season.
Do you think he should pitch and hit?
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, if he can do both at a high level, why not?
Would you pitch him in a 5-day rotation, or would you just have him as a fill-in starter?
I don't know how good of a pitcher is he. I can't.
Well, I know in Japan he was like an MVP pitcher. That was his primary position, but he could also hit.
And then I don't know if I'd put him as a starter. I'd put him more of as the bullpen.
But again, now with the Angels, they have an offense, right?
Yeah.
Even though we know what's his name is,
Mike Trout.
no, the other guy, Pujols is like 1,000 years old. But they added guy. I know, I can never remember the position.
Hey.
He's a third baseman for him. They have power on that team.
Yeah.
They need pitching big time. I mean, they were going through the list the other day. They did the spring training preview. It was on ESPN, and they're just saying the Angels don't have recognizable pitchers that have done anything. So, would you use them as a pitcher, or do you want to add more power? And
Well, you can use them as both, can't you?
I don't know. Are
In
they
that league, can you?
in
is
their
that the-
division? Probably in their division.
What league are they in?
American League West.
Is that the
With the
is
Houston-
American League where you have to use the pitcher instead of DH or
No, American League has DH, so you can use Otani at the DH, but then you're using Pujols at the DH, right? Because he can't play a field position anymore.
So then what are you doing with Otani when he's just not pitching?
I would just keep him in the lineup as the DH, and I'd pull Pujols out. Platoon him, righty lefty on the DH part. We're done, Marty.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the talk show. See you next time.